The rain was relentless, hammering the windows of Emma's small craftsman bungalow like it wanted to break in and confess something. She sat on her worn couch, a mug of chamomile tea cooling in her hands, staring at the flickering TV that played a muted rom-com no one was watching. Then came the knock, sharp, urgent, cutting through the storm like a cry for help. Emma, 28, wasn't used to visitors. Her quiet life in the sleepy suburb of Maplewood, Oregon, revolved around her freelance graphic design work, her tabby cat Machi, and the occasional jog around the neighborhood's oak-lined streets. She liked it that way. Predictable, safe, a world she'd built after leaving behind the chaos of her old life in Portland. But the knock persisted, louder now, and something in its rhythm told her this wasn't a neighbor asking for a cup of sugar. She opened the door, and there stood Lily, her next-door neighbor, drenched to the bone. Lily was 32, a photographer with a reputation for capturing raw, unfiltered moments, weddings, protests, quiet portraits of strangers that somehow felt like family. Her short black hair clung to her forehead, and her green eyes, usually sharp with wit, were wide with something Emma couldn't place. Fear, maybe, or desperation. "Emma," Lily said, her voice trembling, "I need your help. It's big." Emma's heart stuttered. She barely knew Lily beyond polite waves and the occasional chat about gardening or the weather. They'd lived side by side for a year, their lives brushing but never truly intersecting. Yet here was Lily standing on her porch, looking like the world had just tilted off its axis. "Come in," Emma said, stepping aside, her curiosity outweighing her caution. "What's going on?" Lily hesitated, water dripping onto the hardwood floor, then stepped inside. She clutched a small, weathered journal, its edges frayed like it had been carried through 1,000 storms. "I'm in trouble," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain. "And I need you to do something for me. Something that could change everything." Emma's pulse quickened. She didn't know what Lily meant, but the weight of those words settled into her bones. She gestured to the couch and they sat, the space between them crackling with unspoken questions. Lily's hands trembled as she opened the journal, revealing pages filled with hurried handwriting, dates, and what looked like coded notes. "This," Lily said, tapping the journal, "is why I'm here. It's about my sister Claire. She's missing." Emma leaned forward, her tea forgotten. "Missing? Since when?" 3 months, Lily said, her voice breaking. "She was working on something dangerous. She was an investigative journalist, digging into a story about a local organization. I think they took her." Her eyes locked onto Emma's, pleading, "I need you to help me find her. You're the only one I trust." Emma blinked, stunned. "Me? Why me? I'm nobody. I design logos, Lily. I'm not a detective." Lily's gaze didn't waver. "You're not nobody. I've seen you, Emma, how you notice things, how you think. You're smart and you're steady. I need steady right now." She paused, her voice softening. "And I know you've been through things. You've got scars, same as me. I can feel it." Emma's breath caught. She'd never told anyone in Maplewood about her past, about the toxic relationship that had left her shattered, about the years she'd spent rebuilding herself. Yet Lily saw through the quiet life she'd crafted. It was unsettling, but it stirred something deep inside her, a spark she hadn't felt in years. "Okay," Emma said finally, her voice steady despite the storm in her chest. "Tell me everything." Lily exhaled, relief flooding her face. She began to talk, her words tumbling out like the rain outside. Claire had been investigating a shadowy nonprofit called Haven House, a group that claimed to support at-risk youth, but was rumored to be a front for something darker. Human trafficking, maybe, or worse. Claire had gone undercover, posing as a volunteer, and had sent Lily cryptic messages in the journal before vanishing. The last entry, dated 3 months ago, read, "If I don't come back, find Emma. She'll know what to do." Emma's stomach twisted. Why would she write my name? I've never met her. "I don't know," Lily admitted. "But Claire was like that, intuitive, always seeing things others missed. She must have seen something in you. Maybe from one of my photos or stories. I told her about the neighborhood." Lily's voice softened, her eyes searching Emma's face. "She was right about you, wasn't she?" Emma didn't know how to answer. She felt exposed, like Lily had peeled back layers she'd spent years hiding. But there was something else too. A pull, a connection she couldn't explain. She'd always admired Lily from afar. The way she moved through the world with quiet confidence, her camera always at the ready to capture beauty in the mundane. Now here they were, bound by a mystery that felt bigger than both of them. They spent the next hour poring over the journal, deciphering Claire's notes. There were names, addresses, and fragments of conversations, clues that pointed to Haven House's headquarters in downtown Maplewood. Emma's mind raced, piecing together patterns, her graphic designer's eye-catching details Lily had missed. A phone number appeared multiple times, circled in red ink. "This could be a lead," Emma said, pointing. "We could call it, see who answers." Lily nodded, but her expression darkened. "If we do this, Emma, it's not just a phone call. It's stepping into Claire's world. It could be dangerous." Emma met her gaze, her heart pounding but resolute. "I'm in, Lily. For Claire. For you." Lily's eyes softened, a flicker of something, gratitude maybe, or something deeper, passing between them. They didn't know it yet, but that rainy night was the start of something unstoppable. A journey that would test their courage, unravel their pasts, and draw them closer than either could have imagined. The next morning the rain had stopped, but the air in Maplewood felt heavy, as if the storm had left secrets lingering in the mist. Emma and Lily sat at Emma's kitchen table, the journal open between them, its pages a map to a truth they weren't sure they were ready to face. Emma traced the circled phone number with her finger, her mind buzzing with questions, while Lily's knee bounced nervously under the table. They'd agreed to call the number, but the weight of it hung over them like a guillotine. "What if it's a trap?" Lily asked, her voice low. "What if they know I have the journal?" Emma reached out, her hand brushing Lily's for a moment. Unintentional but electric. "Then we're careful," she said, pulling back, her cheeks warming. "We use a burner phone, keep it anonymous. We're just gathering information, not rushing in." Lily nodded, her green eyes catching the morning light streaming through the window. "You're good at this," she said, a small smile breaking through her worry. "Keeping me grounded, I mean. I'm usually the reckless one." Emma laughed softly, surprised by how natural it felt to be here, plotting with Lily like they'd been partners forever. "I'm not sure grounded is the word for diving headfirst into a missing person case, but I'll take it." They drove to a nearby convenience store, bought a cheap prepaid phone, and parked in a quiet corner of the lot. Emma dialed the number, her heart hammering as it rang. A man's voice answered, clipped and professional. "Haven House, this is Michael." Emma froze, but Lily gestured for her to keep going, her eyes wide with urgency. "Hi, Michael," Emma said, forcing her voice to stay calm. "I'm calling about volunteer opportunities. Can you tell me more about what Haven House does?" She glanced at Lily, who gave her a thumbs up, her expression a mix of admiration and anxiety. Michael's tone was smooth, rehearsed. "We're a nonprofit dedicated to helping at-risk youth find stability. Our programs offer mentorship, housing, and job training. Would you like to come by our office to learn more?" Emma scribbled the address he gave her, 1123 Oak Street, downtown Maplewood, matching one of the locations in Claire's journal. "I'll think about it," she said, hanging up before he could ask her name. She turned to Lily. "It's them. That's the place Claire was investigating." Lily's face paled. "That's where she was last seen. Emma, we can't just walk in there. If they took her, they'll know who I am." "Then we don't walk in," Emma said, her mind racing. "We watch. We figure out who's coming and going, what they're hiding. Claire's notes mentioned a back entrance. Maybe we start there." Lily stared at her, a mix of awe and something softer in her eyes. "You're really doing this with me, aren't you?" Emma met her gaze, feeling that same pull from the night before. "I said I was in, didn't I?" That evening they parked a block away from Haven House, a nondescript brick building with a sign that read, "Hope for a Brighter Future." The irony wasn't lost on them. They watched from Emma's car, the windows cracked to let in the cool autumn air. Delivery vans came and went, their drivers moving with a haste that felt off for a non-profit. Emma jotted down license plates, while Lily snapped photos with her camera, her hands steady despite the tension in her shoulders. As the night deepened, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the back entrance. A woman stepped out, her face obscured by a hood, but something about her movements, quick, deliberate, sent a chill down Emma's spine. Lily grabbed her arm. That's her, she whispered. The woman Claire mentioned in her notes. She called her Viper. Emma's pulse spiked. What do we do? We follow her, Lily said, her voice firm. If she's connected to Claire's disappearance, she's our best lead. They tailed the SUV at a distance, winding through Maplewood's quiet streets until it stopped at a gated estate on the edge of town. Emma parked across the street, her hands gripping the wheel. This is getting real, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Lily reached over, her hand resting on Emma's. I know. And I'm scared too. But I can't do this without you. Emma's breath hitched, the warmth of Lily's touch grounding her. She'd spent so long keeping people at arm's length. But Lily was different, fierce, vulnerable, and impossibly alive. Okay, Emma said, squeezing her hand. Let's do this. They spent the next few days digging deeper, cross-referencing Claire's notes with public records and Lily's photos. Haven House's financials were suspiciously clean, but Emma's knack for patterns uncovered discrepancies. Shell companies, vague expense reports, and a name that kept popping up. Margaret Voss, the woman Lily called Viper. She was a board member, a philanthropist with a spotless public image, but Claire's notes painted her as the puppet master behind Haven House's darker operations. Their late-night research sessions brought them closer, their conversations shifting from Claire's case to their own lives. Emma opened up about her ex, a manipulative partner who'd made her doubt herself for years. Lily shared stories of her own heartbreak, of loving women in a world that didn't always understand. Their laughter and confessions filled Emma's living room, the space between them shrinking with every shared glance. One night, as they pored over documents, Lily looked at Emma, her eyes soft in the lamplight. You're not what I expected, she said. I thought you were just the quiet artist next door. But you're incredible. Emma's heart fluttered, her walls crumbling. You're not so bad yourself, she said, her voice teasing but her eyes serious. For a moment they just looked at each other, the air thick with possibility. Then Lily's phone buzzed, shattering the moment. It was a text from an unknown number. Stop looking or you'll end up like her. The text glowed on Lily's phone screen, its words a cold fist around Emma's heart. They sat frozen in Emma's living room, the journal open on the coffee table, its pages now a ticking bomb. Outside, Maplewood slept, oblivious to the danger creeping closer. We need to go to the police, Emma said, breaking the silence. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook as she set down her coffee mug. Lily shook her head, her jaw tight. We can't. Claire's note said the local police might be compromised. Haven House has connections, deep ones. If we go to them, we're handing over everything we know. Emma ran a hand through her hair, frustration bubbling up. Then what? We keep playing detectives until they find us? That text wasn't a joke, Lily. I know, Lily said, her voice cracking. She stood, pacing the room, her boots scuffing the hardwood. But Claire trusted us, trusted you. We're so close. If we stop now, she's gone for good. Emma's chest ached at the desperation in Lily's voice. She wanted to argue, to pull them both back from the edge, but the memory of Lily's hand on hers, the way their lives had intertwined, kept her tethered to this fight. Okay, she said finally. But we need a plan. A real one. They spent the night strategizing, their fear-fueling focus. Lily suggested breaking into Haven House's office to find physical evidence. Files, photos, anything Claire might have left behind. Emma hesitated, the risk clawing at her. But Lily's determination was infectious. We go in, we get out, Lily said. Together. The next evening, under the cover of darkness, they parked near Haven House. The building loomed, its windows dark except for a faint glow in the back. They wore black hoodies, their faces half hidden, and carried backpacks with flashlights, a lockpick kit Lily had from her adventurous college days, and a USB drive for copying files. Emma's heart pounded as they crept toward the back entrance, the same one Viper had used. Lily worked the lock, her hand steady despite the stakes. You're sure about this? She whispered, glancing at Emma. No, Emma admitted, a nervous laugh escaping her. But I'm here. Lily's smile was small but warm, and for a moment the danger faded. Then the lock clicked and they slipped inside. The air was stale, heavy with the scent of paper and cleaning solution. They moved through a hallway lined with locked doors, their flashlights casting jittery beams. Emma's graphic designer brain cataloged details: the peeling paint, the security cameras thankfully off, the faint hum of a generator somewhere deep in the building. They found an office labeled records and slipped inside. Files lined the walls, but one drawer was marked with a red tab, just like in Claire's journal. Lily opened it, revealing folders stuffed with documents, names, dates, and photos of young women, some barely adults. Emma's stomach churned as she realized what they were looking at. Evidence of trafficking, hidden in plain sight. Claire was right, Lily whispered, her voice thick with emotion. She pulled out a photo of a girl who looked eerily like Claire, her face bruised. We need to take this. All of it. They worked quickly, copying files onto the USB and snapping photos. But as Emma reached for another folder, footsteps echoed in the hallway. They froze, their breaths shallow. The footsteps stopped, then started again, closer. Lily grabbed Emma's hand, pulling her behind a filing cabinet. Their bodies pressed together, hearts racing as a flashlight beam swept the room. Don't move, Lily mouthed, her eyes locked on Emma's. The warmth of her breath, the intensity of her gaze, grounded Emma even as panic clawed at her. The beam passed and the footsteps faded, but they stayed there, hands clasped until silence returned. They escaped with the evidence, their adrenaline fading into exhaustion as they drove back to Emma's house. In the safety of her living room, they spread out the documents, piecing together a horrific picture. Haven House was a front, funneling vulnerable women into a network run by Margaret Voss. Claire had gotten too close, and now she was paying the price. Emma looked at Lily, who was staring at the photo of the bruised girl. We're going to find her, Emma said, her voice fierce. We're not stopping until we do. Lily's eyes met hers, glistening with unshed tears. Thank you, she said, her voice barely a whisper. She reached out, her fingers brushing Emma's cheek, and for a moment, the world shrank to just them. Two women bound by courage, fear, and something unspoken but growing. But the moment was fleeting. Lily's phone buzzed again, another text. You were warned. Attached was a photo of Emma's house, taken from the street. Someone was watching. The photo of Emma's house burned into her mind, a violation that made her skin crawl. She and Lily sat in silence, the documents from Haven House scattered across the table, their victory tainted by the new threat. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, each second a reminder that time was running out for Claire, for them. We can't stay here, Emma said, her voice low but firm. If they know where I live, they know where you live too. Lily nodded, her face pale but resolute. I have a friend, Sarah, who lives an hour away in Salem. She's got a guest room, no questions asked. We can regroup there, figure out our next move. They packed quickly, laptops, the journal, the USB drive, and a change of clothes. Machi meowed in protest as Emma scooped her into a carrier. As they drove through the dark, rain-slicked streets, Emma kept checking the rearview mirror, half expecting to see headlights tailing them. Lily's hand rested on her knee, a quiet anchor in the storm. Sarah's house was a cozy split level, its windows glowing warmly against the night. Sarah, a no-nonsense woman in her 40s, greeted them with a hug and a pot of coffee. You two look like you've seen a ghost, she said, eyeing their tense expressions. She didn't pry, just pointed them to the guest room and left them to their work. In the small lamplit room, Emma and Lily spread out the evidence again. The documents confirmed Claire's suspicions. Haven House was trafficking women, using its non-profit status to dodge scrutiny. Margaret Voss's name appeared everywhere, her signature on contracts, her face in photos with local officials. But one detail stood out: a coded email address in Claire's journal, linked to someone inside Haven House. If we can hack into this, Emma said, we might find out where Claire is. Lily raised an eyebrow. Hack? You know how to do that? Emma smirked, a spark of her old confidence returning. I dabbled in coding before graphic design. I'm rusty, but I can try. She pulled out her laptop, her fingers flying over the keys as she set up a secure connection. Lily watched, her admiration clear, and Emma felt a flush of pride she hadn't felt in years. Hours later, they cracked the email. A burner account used by a Haven House employee who'd been feeding Claire information. The most recent message, sent a week ago, mentioned a safe house on the outskirts of Maplewood, where new arrivals were held. Claire's name wasn't mentioned, but the timing fit. That's where she is, Lily said, her voice trembling with hope and fear. We have to go there. Emma hesitated, the photo of her house flashing in her mind. Lily, this is bigger than us. We have evidence now, real evidence. Maybe it's time to find someone we can trust, someone outside Maplewood. Lily's eyes blazed. There's no time. If Claire's there, we can't wait for bureaucracy. Please, Emma. I need you. Emma's heart twisted. She wanted to protect Lily, to keep them both safe, but she couldn't deny the fire in Lily's eyes, or the pull she felt toward her. Okay, she said softly. But we're smart about it. No rushing in. They planned the recon mission with military precision, mapping the safe house's location. A secluded farmhouse surrounded by woods. They'd go at dawn when visibility was low, but the guards, if any, might be tired. Sarah lent them a car, no questions asked, and they set out, the tension between them palpable but unspoken. The farmhouse was eerily quiet, its windows boarded up, a single van parked out front. They hid in the tree line, Lily's camera capturing every detail. A man emerged, his face hard and unfamiliar, carrying a crate into the house. Emma's stomach churned as she realized what might be inside. We need to get closer, Lily whispered. But before Emma could respond, a twig snapped behind them. They spun around to find a woman, Viper Margaret Voss herself, standing 10 feet away, a gun in her hand. Drop the camera, Voss said, her voice cold as ice. You're in way over your heads. Emma's heart stopped, but Lily stepped forward, shielding Emma. Where's my sister? She demanded, her voice shaking but defiant. Voss smirked. You're persistent, I'll give you that. But persistence gets you hurt. She raised the gun and Emma's world slowed. Without thinking, she grabbed Lily's hand, pulling her down as a shot rang out, the bullet grazing a tree. They ran, branches tearing at their clothes, Voss's shouts fading behind them. They reached the car, panting, and sped away, Emma's hands shaking on the wheel. We're alive, she gasped, glancing at Lily, who was clutching her camera like a lifeline. Barely, Lily said, her voice hoarse. She reached for Emma's hand, their fingers intertwining. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Don't be, Emma said, her eyes fierce. I'm here because I want to be. For Claire. For you. Lily's gaze softened, and for a moment the danger faded, replaced by something deeper. A promise, a connection that neither could deny. But the fight wasn't over. They had evidence, but Voss had seen them. The safe house was real, and Claire might be inside. They just had to survive long enough to save her. The guest room in Sarah's house was a sanctuary, but Emma and Lily felt like fugitives. They sat cross-legged on the bed, the USB drive and journal between them, their faces etched with exhaustion and resolve. The memory of Voss's gun, the crack of the bullet, lingered like a ghost, but it only sharpened their focus. We have enough to expose Haven House, Emma said, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. But we need to get this to someone who can act, someone clean. Lily nodded, her green eyes fierce. There's a journalist I know, Rachel, in Portland. She's fearless and she owes Claire a favor. If we get her the evidence, she'll blow this wide open. They spent the morning encrypting the files and drafting an email to Rachel, attaching scans of the documents and Lily's photos. Emma's coding skills came in handy again, ensuring their message was untraceable. As they hit send, a weight lifted, but the danger was far from over. Voss knew their faces and Claire was still out there. We need to go back, Lily said, her voice quiet but firm. To the safe house. If Claire's there, we can't wait for Rachel's story to break. Emma's heart sank, but she saw the truth in Lily's eyes. Okay, she said. But we're not going in blind. We need backup. Sarah, who'd overheard, stepped in. I know people, activists, not cops. They've dealt with organizations like Haven House before. They'll help. By noon, Sarah had rallied a small group, 3 women with sharp eyes and sharper resolve. They had no weapons, but their knowledge of the system and their anger at its failures were weapons enough. At dawn, they returned to the farmhouse, this time with a plan. Sarah's friends would create a distraction, posing as delivery drivers to draw out the guards, while Emma and Lily slipped inside. The air was thick with mist, the woods silent except for their footsteps. Emma's pulse raced, but Lily's hand in hers kept her steady. The distraction worked. As the guards argued with Sarah's friends at the front, Emma and Lily crept through a side window, landing in a dim basement. The air was heavy, the silence oppressive. They found a locked door, and Lily's lock-picking skills got them through. Inside was a small room bare except for a mattress, and Claire. She was alive, bruised but breathing, her eyes lighting up when she saw Lily. "You found me," she whispered, her voice hoarse as Lily pulled her into a fierce hug. Emma stood guard, her heart swelling at the reunion but alert for danger. They moved fast, guiding Claire out through the window. But as they reached the tree line, headlights cut through the mist. Voss's SUV. "Run!" Emma shouted, and they sprinted, Claire leaning on Lily as Sarah's friends covered their escape. They reached the car, piling in as tires screeched behind them. The chase was relentless, Voss's SUV gaining until Sarah took a sharp turn onto a back road, losing them in the woods. They drove to a safe house Sarah's friends had secured, a cabin deep in the forest. There, Claire told them everything, how she'd been caught, held and interrogated but hadn't broken. "You saved me," she said, tears streaming as she hugged Lily and Emma. Days later, Rachel's story hit, exposing Haven House and Voss's network. Arrests followed, the safe house raided, and more women freed. Emma and Lily watched the news from the cabin, their hands entwined, Machi purring between them. The danger was over, but something new was beginning. One evening, as the sun set over the forest, Lily turned to Emma. "You changed my life," she said, her voice soft but sure. "Not just by saving Claire, but by being you." Emma's heart swelled, her fears and walls gone. "You changed mine too," she said, leaning in. Their kiss was soft, tentative, then deep. A promise forged in danger and sealed in love. They returned to Maplewood, not as neighbors but as partners, building a life together. Claire recovered, her story inspiring others to speak out. Emma and Lily's bond, born in a storm, became a beacon. A reminder that love, like courage, could change everything. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.